and happy Monday. How are you doing? My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on This Is The Day, live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking, and we're also keeping Jesus on the airwaves. Today use the WhatsApp number 0786 316 316 and talk to us. SMS line 20316. Well, today it has been all about the Bbi Report launching that was happening at the Bomas of Kenya. And later on the show, we will be looking at some of the things that happened during this launch and just looking into matters and how they were. That is coming in a bit later. But for now, let's get started. President Uhuru Kenyatta today took a swipe at his deputy, William Ruto, when he took to the podium during the launch of the Building Bridges Initiative report. The head of state insinuated that Ruto had abandoned the course, making it difficult for him to pass him the presidency. Likening his behavior to that of a relay track runner, Uhuru noted that the DP was aggressively charting his own path, parallel to what his government was trying to achieve.
My brother Raila Odinga, we did not talk about sharing government, and as we stand today, he is not in government. He is not in government. He never made any demands for government. He never made any demand for a share of government. He said that let us get together and let us fix that which ails us, that will allow us in future to be able to compete without the need for innocent Kenyan blood to be shed. Shukuru kwa sababu tulisonga pamoja. Hapa katikati ndio sasa 2022 ikaanza kuwa inapita. Akasahau yale mengine. Na ndio wanasema watu tutulize ball, hiyo bado itakuja. Ama ni namna gani wenzangu? Tutulize ball, hiyo itakuja. Miaka hairudi nyuma. Nikasema mosmos, utafika tu. Jameni, tufanye shughuli hii muhimu kwa taifa, shughuli ambayo itatusaidia na itasaidia kuleta umoja na amani katika taifa letu.
Well, right before inviting the president, the deputy president, William Ruto, was heckled by delegates during the launch of the Bbi Report today at the Bomas of Kenya. Ruto was forced to pause his speech as the delegates jeered him after he appeared to express his disaffection of the Trans Nzoia County youth leader by the name Alex Matere's targeted reference to his wheelbarrow donations. And the second in command tried to calm the crowd, saying he was about to finish, adding that he had listened to other views and he should be listened to, but the delegates at Bomas wouldn't hear none of it. Initially, when Ruto took to the podium, he expressed his reservations about the Bbi report, saying it has many issues which should be reviewed.
And in any case, I would add that from that list, especially on matters to do with young people, how we can assist them with higher education loans board and give them a moratorium, how they can start business. It must not be lost on us that the real problem, the real problem is that these young people are jobless. That is the real cause of all this. And that is the discussion we must have. That is the discussion we must have. The Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka am finishing. You know, I speak for millions of hustlers, so just give me a minute. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Abraham Lincoln, the 17th President of the United States of America, said, "Things may come to those who wait, but only things left by those who hustle." That is Abraham Lincoln. He was never talking about the rich and the poor. He was talking about the people who wake up early, the people who sleep late, the people who work hard, and that is the society we need to build. It is now my humble pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to ask His Excellency the President of Kenya to make his remarks, and thank you very much for listening to me.
Well, there we have it. That was what was transpiring at the Bomas of Kenya. Now, on the hustler dynasty at the 2022 politics, the ODM leader Raila Odinga watered down his claims that he was contesting for the top country job in 2022. The former Prime Minister said he was not keen on talking about 2022 politics, insisting that there was a government in place with a mandate to deliver. At the same time, he appeared to jab the Deputy President William Ruto, who he accused of distancing himself from the government he formed with the president in 2013. The Wiper Democratic Movement leader Kalonzo Musyoka asked politicians not to radicalize the youth by creating division based on economic class.
Avoid radicalizing this country. You see, there are very many types of terrorism. If you start a class war, what are you doing to your own country in the name of wanting to get elected? This is not good. I've just come, Your Excellency, from a visit to Mount Kenya region, and beautiful Thompson Falls compared to the famous Bomas of Kenya thing. It's amazing. Beautiful territory, beautiful country. But then we radicalize a youth, so they look at you. A youth looked at me and said, "Kalonzo, we welcome you. Karibu sana. At least somebody has brought us a wheelbarrow. What have you brought us?"
See, do you want this to be a unifying process, uniting the people of Kenya? Once that is done, Kenyans will decide who is going to be a leader in 2022. We don't want to talk about 2022 now. We are talking about Kenya of today. The Jubilee government, and the leaders are here, have their 4-point agenda. Wamalize hiyo kwanza. Hapana ambia sisi vile mtafanya 2022. Sasa hivi fanyeni hiyo sasa, mnulize kwanza. Sisi wako pamoja, wako pair. Wako pair. Wewe umekuwa na bibi, mmezaa mtoto, unaona mtoto amekuwa ni kichaa. Sasa wewe unasema hiyo si mtoto yangu.
While different political leaders also aired their views on the Building Bridges initiative, some like aspiring presidential aspirant, that is Governor Alfred Mutua, going unconventional.
Yes! Rais, hii document nataka kuambia pamoja ukiwa na ndugu yako. Musitishwe! Leteni tuende kwa referendum. We are the majority. We are the people. We are there. We will get it. Usubuhi saina itakuwa imepita. Musitishwe.
Kuwapatia rada kiasi. Unajua, sisi tumechoka nchi ya mabezanga wachache wenye pesa nyingi na mamilioni ambao wamesota. Tunataka nchi ambayo watu wako na usawa, nataka kushow birthday boy Unye na Rao ya kwamba na mabazu wengine wako hapo wote, ya kwamba sisi especially the young people in this country tunataka Kenya ambayo tunaendelea kuchochwa saa zote. Haswa tunataka Kenya kofea, ndio kijana akiamka asubuhi anadondoka anajua atapata wera ama atapata do, si kulala njaa kila wakati.
Your Excellency, the 7 depositions that will be given to the National Assembly, then put it there that they will all of them go to women. All of them, without exception.
Well, Christ is the Answer Ministry, that is CITAM Bishop David Oginda, has called for the de-escalation of the political confrontation to facilitate an apolitical approach to the Building Bridges Initiative constitutional review process. Oginda further said that the religious leaders are yet to review the report before deciding on whether to support it, but highlighted that serious issues on the church, marriage and family have not been addressed in the report. The bishop said that the political formation in the country has been changing and that it will not be a surprise for Deputy President William Ruto to be on the same side with the ODM leader Raila Odinga come 2022 elections.
Between 2017 and 2020, the political formations have changed significantly. In fact, I want to prophesy that it will not be a surprise before 2022 that Dr. William Ruto and Honorable Raila Odinga will be on the same side. It is a fact that no nation has ever become great through division. The Bible is clear that where there is unity, the Lord commands a blessing. A cord of 3 strands cannot be broken. Your Excellency, perhaps it is time that hustlers should pause their hustling for a moment, and the reggae dancers pause their dance for a moment, and join together in a serious Jerusalem dance for the sake of the peace and the unity of this nation. After all, DJ Master KG and his sister remind us that the New Jerusalem is our ultimate home. Finally, Your Excellency, in 2005 and in the 2010 referendum, the church said no because of various major principles. We would like to see this addressed.
Well, from the conversations that I have been having with lots of people, even on the radio platform, most people have not read the BBI report, or even if they are asked, what do you want added or removed from this BBI report, very few would give an answer. And this is because they literally have not read the report. Okay, so wewe umesoma the BBI report. Are you aware of what it entails? And what do you think about the launch that happened today? Everything that transpired. Talk to me about that on 0786316316. That is on WhatsApp. SMS line 20316. Martin Dungu, thank you so much for tuning in today. And say hi to Abigail. I'll get back to her in a couple of minutes. This is Vincent Mulinge from Thika. And you're saying, praise God, Sarah, I have not read the BBI report and I don't think I will because our politicians always have their hidden agendas behind everything. On my side, I will keep on praying to God to help Kenyans to vote for the best. Thank you so much for that. Joseph from Kiserian, asante sana. And you're saying it's a new week, more blessings and opportunities. And you're asking what you're talking about today. Yes, the BBI report launch that happened today. What do you think about it? And have you even read the report itself? Patrick, asante sana. You're saying, I have not read it, but I am willing to read it. Thank you for that. Mutanu, you're saying, not yet, but Fununu Media has shared a lot over the Grapevine channels. You have not read yet. George from Kayole, you're saying, I have not read the report, but I think I will support it. Thank you for that. All right. Well, talk to us about the launching of the BBI report that happened today. What do you feel about it? Well, and talking of that launch, we earlier on talked to political analyst Benji Ndolo to just help us understand if this BBI report will be implemented. Listening to this. For joining us today, and right now the BBI report is being released, or rather launched, at Bomas of Kenya, and today is such a rather very busy day, especially for our political people. So talking of BBI, have you read the report personally?
I haven't read the report as a matter of principle. I don't agree with ultra-virus efforts and shenanigans. The Jubilee government has not been a respectful government as far as the constitution goes. Where's the constitution? They've not respected the constitution. President Uhuru has made it very clear. Corruption is impossible, a fight for him. That the judiciary cannot be left to stand alone. President Uhuru waged war on the Auditor General, as the whole world has watched. And so if you're not going to respect the constitution, how then would you amend a constitution that you've refused to implement in the first place?
And in this case, we're talking about the 2010 constitution.
We're talking about the 2010 constitution, which is a progressive constitution, which actually he has benefited a lot from as the chief executive, and where he has, for example, not only benefited as a head of state like his father before, but it's like after 8 years of this, he's now realizing that winner takes all. That is, people speak, it's insincere. And so to bring an initiative that is a pseudo argument about unifying, when all you're trying to do is expand the executive and have the elite sit at the table to eat. Remember, we're in the middle of a debt crisis, an economic crisis, a pandemic crisis, where even KEMSA has done nothing more than loot resources. So wananchi are hungry, jobless. The government has not been able to meet them at their point of need. There are no, the economy is broken. The government says, look, let's spend money, which is non-disclosed even, because I don't know under which ministry this is happening. I don't know under what budget item this is happening. Let us now do something where, to return this country to single-party rule, we're going to use up the opposition. We're going to bring everybody on the table. We're going to eat all of us quietly. And because we're all eating quietly, that is called inclusivity, and therefore we'll have peace. This is, at best, malarkey.
Wow, from the look of things, Benji, you are not in agreement with this. And the reason as to why I'm saying this, have you watched the speech that was given by the DP, William Ruto? And at the end of it, it didn't end well.
Yes, I saw all the heckling. That was disgraceful. The DP is not an innocent man. He's not a very nice guy. He's a courageous guy. So he earned a lot of the wrath that you're seeing, being unleashed there on him. But he's a courageous guy, so he can take it. And he was not a believer in the Constitution. He's also a big believer of the same Constitution. What we have in this country now is we're in a complete crisis. Remember, the Chief Justice has recommended dissolution of Parliament. The President sometimes handles that by, quote, pretending he has not heard the directive. And what we're trying to do now is form another mongrel government where you have a dysfunctional enterprise, a dysfunctional government. As the DP just posited just now, you have a president and you pick a deputy, then they pick a prime minister who then picks a head of opposition. It's not well thought out. It's not well thought out. It's being covered there by a lot of laughter and a lot of jokes about Mpango wa Kando, etc. Those are also morals that are very misleading to the youth. This is a failure of leadership at every front, and the person that is responsible for this entire mess in its entirety is His Excellency the President. It's my job, especially in a Christian, to speak the truth, and in a manner that 10 years from now, people can look back and say, wait a minute, Benji called this out exactly as it is. And by the way, to be honest, we are so many. Kenyans are suspicious of BBI. Kenyans are completely at odds with what is happening. Why? Because their issues are bread and butter issues. Their issues are good governance. Their issues, all the counties where governors are looting left and right. There's no prosecutions happening. There's no accountability. and BBI cannot fix that. Absolutely not.
All right. And talking of fixing, and just before we go over to fixing of the problems that Kenyans are facing, maybe what are some of the great pointers that BBI report actually looks to address according to the report that was launched today?
So according to the report,
Yeah.
it will bring in peace by expanding the executive. That is such a fallacious argument. Kenya has 42. What they want to do is they want to catch all main 6 tribal chieftains in this country. Kalonzo from the eastern, Mudavadi from western, together with Angula, Raila from Nyanza, etc. President Moi, who was a former primary school teacher, could have been forgiven, for being able to not be very sophisticated in his approach to politics, the former late professor of politics. But for young leaders like Uhuru, Ruto, etc., it is laughable that they think that expanding an executive in line with what Hassan Joho, the Mombasa governor, was saying, to have people sit at the table, that will bring inclusivity and peace in the country. What they forget that some years down the road, we'll have to expand the executive again because another 6 tribes will also ask to come to the table and eat. First, it was 2 tribes. Initially, it was 1 tribe, the Kikuyu, then 2 tribes, then now we're expanding to 6 tribes. It really is all insecure. It's not sustainable. We're missing the major discussion. And the major discussion is this country needs fresh leadership. This country needs values and ideals. Read chapter 6 of the Constitution, which has been violated, right? So many governors are in court as we speak.
Yeah.
Accused with theft. So many CSs or governors are former CSs accused of graft. And all they do now, play politics and align accordingly. If you don't align regarding Gachagua, then you're under investigation. This is a simple approach to politics. This is a dilution of, constitutionalism in this country. There's an effort to muzzle the Auditor General. There's an effort to manage the judiciary, to muzzle the judiciary. There is no respect for constitutional ideals. For example, the Constitution makes it very clear that allocation to counties should be at least 15%. So to come and say that you're going to pass legislation to bring the 15% to 35%, when the language is clear, at least 15%, what's stopping you from allocating 35% now?
Yeah.
At any rate, even this 15% is allocated late. Why? Because the government is collecting a lot of money from overtaxed and overworked citizens, and then they're paying debts. Loans upon debts that have been taken, and the money has been looted through inflation of contracts. We all live in Kenya, we know what's happening. So this is not sincere. This is the sons of the original founding fathers with their 50-something-year-old feuds, having imagination and trying to find stopgap measures that Kenyans are going to reject and shouldn't accept.
Okay. Well, I'm getting your point, and you talked about ensuring peace and rather bringing peace and unity to Kenyans, and this is something that we have been talking about. And during the speech today, we had parents of Bbi Pendo, the one that succumbed in Kisumu because of post-election violence. So do you think, according to the BBI report, and if it's launched, will it help to stop post-election violence in our country? Because from the look of things, that is the major problem of peace and unity, especially during electioneering time.
First of all, the use of Bbi Pendo's parents was unfortunate. They were used as, okay, I'm sure they were given something small. Okay, they lost a child. This child was bludgeoned to death by a police officer. Has that police officer been Has he been convicted for murder of an infant, of a minor? And so the use of such people as props. And this is also because of all the outrage and vitriol that has been poured on social media on how when the elite comes together, they come together to break bread and they forget those who paid the price for them to sit peacefully in State House and have a cup of tea and share millions and billions of money. So they then, without thinking too deep, rushed and got the parents of baby Pendo, who are, semi-educated, who came. You saw the mother actually embarrassing herself, saying that, and I quote, "If you are beaten up by your husband and your neighbor asks you in the morning why your face is swollen, you don't say that. You say you slept, your feature." This is the extent of her thinking, the extent of her understanding. She's promoting spousal abuse. She's promoting gender violence. She's promoting misogyny without even knowing. So this is when you do things that are not well thought through. These are not, Kenyans who understand constitutional principles, who understand the importance of rule of law. And like I said, the president has not led the way. Remember, the government has been the chief violator, disobeying court orders. The president has not led the way in teaching Kenyans to respect the law, to respect the constitution, to uphold the constitution. Quite frankly, in decent societies, that's an impeachable offense.
Yeah. Okay.
So 3 mandates any Kenyan to do anything in their power to uphold and promote and defend the constitution of Kenya. That has not been happening.
Well, as Benji, do you think
judges are direction? Sorry, the president has not appointed judges as per direction of the Judicial Service Commission. Now they want to create an ombudsman's office and basically centralize everything around OP. In fact, what President Uhuru is trying to do, like I said, and remember he's a chair of KANU, is he desires and envisions a single party state. So this is what they're trying to do by usurping and bringing everyone to the table. In essence, it's to say, let's all speak in one voice. That also means let's not have accountability because no one is really going to ask questions, which is why he has appointed as a speaker his personal buddy, Justin Muturi, which is why, there's really no vetting in parliament anymore, which is why Gonzo, Raila, and all these guys, he has put them in his pocket. And remember, we had a situation where Raila, for example, was asking questions about Eurobond. You don't hear that anymore.
Yes.
Under the auspice of handshake. So handshake, for the sake of peace, which is not a sustainable peace, but is a temporary calm at the expense of accountability and with the growth of looting at the national government and everywhere across the country through the different governors in the counties, is not the goal, is a misnomer ab initio. Absolutely not. This is a disgrace that is happening, and weeks from now you'll tell me that I was right, even if it takes years from now.
Wow. Do you think this BBI report is gonna pass?
I don't think it's gonna pass because Kenyans are very suspicious of it. They are also very much against it. It doesn't have the support. This thing is a polarizing thing because it is basically a euphemism for Honorable Raila's agenda. His people are bitter, they complain about rigging and what have you. So it is like a pathway to revenge against the deputy president and to set a pathway or a course for special interests and quid pro quo.
Benji, we cannot see you.
So,
all right, there we go.
Yes, I can. To set special interests and quid pro quo, where Raila brings his support and props up an unpopular government and gets something in return. It is a breaking of bread by the dynasties and by the political elite in this country. It is dishonest. It is unfortunate. That is BBI.
All right. Yes. And what do you think, maybe, if it is supposed to serve the interest of the common mwananchi, you and me included, what do you think should be changed, or rather, what should be added or removed?
You see, what should be done, Sarah, I like your question.
Yeah.
What should be added or removed? You see, there's an analogy I've been using, and I'm going to be very blunt here as I speak to you, Sarah. What Kenyans need is what Article 259 talks about in the Constitution. We need to read, internalize, and implement the Constitution of Kenya 2010. We have not implemented the Constitution. That's why we have all these problems. President Uhuru has not even tried to implement the Constitution. He has broken it left and right. He has created positions that were never there for political losers. For example, if you talk about CASs, he has a position in the House called the Chief of Staff, which is not a constitutional position. He just put the Constitution aside and said, I'm going to be an imperial president like my mentor Daniel Arap Moi, and nobody's going to ask me anything. We might skirt around issues and pretend we don't know what's happening, but this is the fact of life. What we need to do is amend the Constitution. Anything called BBI and all of this other stuff is, time wastage. It is waste of national resources. For example, the analogy I was giving is you have a family that has a meal set on the dining table. And then the father, the head of the family, and the mother, the partner, the wife, say, okay, the meal is ready for us to nourish our family. So for you children, what we do is stop eating this meal fast. Let us first graze around the compound.
No.
Rather than partake of the Constitution. Let's park the Constitution aside. Let us go and pick something else called BBI. That is an appeasement tool. Because under the handshake auspices, we don't know what deals they exchange there. Just where we don't know how much they're spending on the launch at Bomas. We don't know what line ministry it's under. We don't know what budget line item is being expensed. So in the same way we don't know what Raila was given. Even Honorable Kolonzo asked that. He said, we want to know. Some have the hand check. So rather than implement the Constitution, then they want to go and do something else that is outside. Is a misnomer at best. It's a misnomer.
So according to you, and I remember very well, this is what also the NAC leader Martha Karua was saying, they need to just put the BBI aside and implement the 2010 Constitution. That is what you're saying, if I'm getting you right.
Many of us are saying that. And remember, by purporting to build bridges, they've also broken many bridges, for example, with the deputy president. So what bridges are you building when you've just seen the heckling of the deputy president? He has been chased, he has been told to leave, etc. That happens every day. To me, it's fallacious to build bridges, but you're also breaking, because he has many followers. He has millions of what they call hustlers or whatever they call them that are also Kenyan. So you've got a situation where you're bringing Raila on board only on an ad hoc basis, So he's on board, but then now William is not. Then you go chasing after William. Then Raila's left. So this is Uhuru's, very ad hoc style of leadership, which, and it gives me no pleasure to say this, it's a failure of leadership, and in time I'll be vindicated.
Wow, thank you, Benji. I'm really grateful for shedding light on some of the issues of the BBI report and actually what Kenyans feel, because I know you're not speaking from just a personal perspective. It's also a representation of what other people are saying. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you. It's about philosophy. Kenyans need jobs. Kenyans need opportunity. Kenyans need to be able to borrow from banks, be able to be guaranteed security. They need counties working, and all of those examples I've given Sarah are literally not working. We don't even have a system where the government can guarantee masks for schools that are open. If you can't guarantee, what are you talking about BBI? Can't guarantee a simple mask for children because the money is being looted left and right. And after the looting, we have not seen any credible prosecutions. Again, the things are all interconnected to State House. It's so sad. It's unfortunate. And the church must not be part of any cover-up and any blackmail and whitewashing of what is very obvious. We just need to implement the Constitution, have clean elections, and get credible leaders. Simple as that.
Wow, I get that. credible leaders. That's the bottom line. Thank you so much, Benji.
God bless you so much, my dear.
All right, thank you. Have a beautiful evening. We have on Facebook Daniel Okundi, and they're saying instead of the deputy working together with the president to build a better nation, he decides to carry out his own campaigns on 2022 without even realizing that the future belongs to God. Livingstone Ngugi, you're saying, but if you listen carefully what the deputy president said, it's just the truth. Mansa Alana, asante sana for tuning in. And they're saying Peter Mwangi unasema, but truly speaking, Ruto has won the day. That is on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining our discussion today. This is Judy from Mombasa. Asante sana for tuning in today. This is Mama J. You're saying, what does this BBI say about the Kenyan living below $1 a day? Lynette from Nairobi is saying, hi, my question is, if we were in president's shoes, what would we do? It's easy to scrutinize. What do the political analysts suggest? I'm yet to read the BBI report. Let them keep our nation at peace. God is in charge ultimately. Asante sana for tuning in. Joseph Wakisarian, you're saying, I downloaded a soft copy of the BBI and shared with my friends. We will be reading 6 pages daily and discussing about them every evening. In 1 month, we should have read it all, and then only then can I decide if it's worthy. Asante sana for tuning in. Unasema mimi najisomea nijiamulie. This is Martin Dungu. Thank you for contributing. Esi Kimenyi unasema mtu akiingia sahi anamakiwa present ama absent. Present. Thank you, Essie, for making time for the show today. We really, really appreciate. Now to some international stories. And in the United States of America, we're just left with 9 days to go until the presidential election, and Pennsylvania is a key battle state and helped secure Donald Trump's victory 4 years ago. Now Joe Biden is ahead of the latest poll, but Democrats are still working hard to recapture the working class voters who abandoned the party 4 years ago.
This Rust Belt community was the epicenter of Trump's 2016 victory, and the battle to hold it or to reclaim it is on. As Biden supporters nudge towards their man's rally, they're goaded by President Trump's most loyal.
Let's go! 4 more years, 2020, 4 more years!
Everyone here knows how important winning this state is in propelling their man to the White House. Greg Brannon was too young to vote last time, but he would have chosen Mr. Trump, and that's not changed.
Here is the enthusiasm gap is so high for President Trump that even if Biden announces something the day before, you only see an RV or two for Biden, but Trump could say, I'm going to be here in 45 minutes, and you get something like this. It's a huge enthusiasm gap.
The legacy of 2016 endures here. Crooked Hillary is still a relevant cry for supporters of the president.
Go home, Crooked Joe! You go home, baby!
But does adapting that for Biden really work? He seems to have a broader appeal here.
You say we gotta hold on to what we got.
On the hill beyond, John Bon Jovi is Joe Biden's introduction.
Trump ran around saying he represents the forgotten man and woman in this country. I get it. But then he got elected and he immediately forgot the forgotten man.
Well, the Spanish government has declared a new state of emergency and ordered a nationwide curfew in an effort to curb the soaring coronavirus infection, one of the several European countries taking drastic measures to fight COVID-19. Yesterday, Italy's Prime Minister announced a new anti-corona measures for bars, restaurants and public gatherings in a last-ditch effort aimed at avoiding a new nationwide lockdown.
One of a string of protests in Italy against pandemic-related restrictions. Demonstrators converged on the government building in Rome to denounce a nighttime curfew. They say it's shattering the economy. But on Sunday, the Prime Minister announced tough new measures, saying COVID-19 cases were rising dangerously across the country and placing pressure on the health system.
Gestire la pandemia significa Managing the pandemic means to permit our medical system to give a prompt response, guaranteeing treatment and proper hospitalisations to all citizens. It means to prevent a second complete lockdown like the one we had in spring. The country cannot afford it.
Bars and restaurants have to close at 6 p.m, although they can offer a takeaway service. Gyms, swimming pools, cinemas and theatres are being ordered to shut. And people are being strongly advised not to leave home except for work, health or education purposes. But so far there's no ban on travelling. Spain is going further, with a new state of emergency coming into effect on Sunday night. The country's desperately trying to avoid going through the trauma it suffered in the spring. The new law includes nighttime curfews everywhere except the Canary Islands. Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez says the legislation will last for 15 days, but he'll ask Parliament to extend it for 6 months.
Da una cobertura jurídica, constitucional.
It gives legal constitutional coverage for the temporary restriction for 6 months of fundamental rights such as freedom of movement from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. It also gives regions the ability to stop people coming in or out of certain neighbourhoods, a city or a whole region.
The World Health Organization says Europe reported 222,000 new COVID-19 cases on Saturday, accounting for nearly half the global total. But addressing the World Health Summit happening in Berlin but also online, the head of the United Nations urged countries to think beyond their own borders.
We need global solidarity every step of the way. Developed countries must support health systems in countries that are short of resources. And we must join together as governments, the private sector, civil society and all partners to make sure vaccines, tests and treatments are available to everyone, everywhere. A vaccine must be a global public good.
All right, and talking about coronavirus, in our country today we have recorded 276 new cases of the virus, 18 deaths and 220 recoveries across the country. Now, when we look at the positive story this evening, and this is a story of a lady who never gave up. After finishing high school at the age of 25, 30-year-old Mercy Towet is now a finalist pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in education. Listening to her story.
I finished my class 8 back in the year 2005, and I stayed at home for 6 years, helping my parents with house chores. Just after class 8, I couldn't continue due to challenges of school fees. I started working as a house girl, so that I can reach the age of getting my national ID. Someone challenged me to go back to school in the year 2012 so that at least I can acquire my Form 4 certificate. And I went back to school. It was a new dawn in my life. And by the grace of God, I completed my Form 4 in the year 2015. And I did my first KCSE. I acquired my national ID. And then I started doing work in flower farms, just here in Salga. I've worked in flower farms for 2 years. In the year 2011, on December, I decided that I will never do housework again. Do motivational talks to primary schools and to the secondary schools to just encourage the boy child and the girl child, even not to engage in premarital sex, so they may not get into early pregnancies.
Wow, a lady who never gave up, and right now she's aiming for the best. That is a story of one Mercy Towet. Finishing high school at 25? That is another one. Well, on Facebook, we have responses, and you remember the heckling of the deputy president that happened today. Karen Nyakisumu unasema that was too low from the hecklers. The second in command showed maturity on another level. This is Lewis Onyango Raphael, and you're saying a so-called inclusive session or process suddenly turned divisive. I like that. Quincy Morris unasema... All right, this is another one. Patrick, you're saying we need a country where all views, however divergent they are, must be allowed chance to be heard. However divergent they are, they must be allowed a chance to be heard. If they are sincere, they want a non-polarized referendum. They should have listened to all the views at Bomas. But if they make it a shouting match, then we are going nowhere as a country. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing your views on Facebook. We really, really appreciate. Fresha Wairimo, asante sana for tuning in today. And to everyone who has made time to share with me this amazing evening on This Is the Day, I am grateful. Thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow. My name is Sarah Otieno.
And more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.